Alrighty, guys, gals, non-binary pals, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. I am super excited about what we're going to be talking about today. Before we get into it, as you can see, right, I always point on the wrong side, right here, these awesome people, I am streaming this live on Twitch, so if you are ever bored and you want to come hang out, feel free to follow me. There'll be a link in the description. But yeah, so feel free to do that. Today we are going to be talking about a Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition that has caused quite the controversy and made people kind of upset. And so the first thing we're going to be talking about is the tweet that kind of sparked this all off. So there was a tweet by Jordan Peterson, who, I mean, if you don't know who that is, there's a lot to go over there. But basically, he's like an internet personality. He talks a lot about like self-improvement. He's a clinical psychologist, and there's a lot more to it than that. But that's kind of the very basics of who he is. But he tweeted out his thoughts on this cover of Sports Illustrated. So let's go over that. So this is the cover right here. And as you can see, it's a lovely young lady who clearly is a little bit more heavy set, for lack of a better term. And Jordan Peterson replied with, "Sorry, not beautiful, and no amount of authoritarian tolerance is going to change that." So again, another thing that's about Jordan Peterson is he talks a lot about that stuff. He's very much against like people feeling like he's very much against like feeling like your freedom of speech is being taken, or like the government has an agenda, right? And that's kind of what he is. That's kind of what he's talking about here. And some of the responses have been kind of funny. So this is Hassan. He's like a really popular streamer, content creator. Sorry, not beautiful, and no amount of authoritarian tolerance is going to change that. And a picture of Jordan Peterson. This is Vosh, another popular content creator. It's all right, sir. I like men too. Also, authoritarian, chunky women on magazine covers. You sound like a parody of you, right? So a lot of people did not agree with his thoughts, and he actually ended up. This didn't actually end up happening, but he said that he was going to basically get off Twitter because of how people were responding to this, and he didn't end up getting off Twitter. But I was kind of curious because obviously I had a lot of people kind of wanted to know my thoughts on this and how I felt about it. And at first I was like, whatever. But then I was like, okay, let's dig a little bit deeper. Like, what is this? Because I know the issue with Sports Illustrated and things like this, when there's covers that are, you know, put out there to create conversation and create, you know, backlash. Sometimes it's like literally created to make people upset. It's because they want to get people talking, right? And that's clearly worked here because this was a huge deal a few days ago. And I mean, it's still a huge deal. People are still talking about it to this day, right? And so I was like, okay, what is this article? What is the point of this article? What are they trying to do here? What's the reason that they put this young woman on the cover of Sports Illustrated? And then I want to share my thoughts, okay? So then I found this is from Sports Illustrated, and they kind of talk about the reason for this article, right? Or this cover and this magazine. So your Sports Illustrated swimsuit 2022 cover models are Kim Kardashian, Ciara, Mae Musk, and Yumi Nu. The 59th issue celebrates 28 powerful women in an inclusive range of backgrounds and body types. So they're kind of trying to show different body types, and that's kind of the reason for this article and why it exists and why the covers exist, right? But the thing that's interesting is that obviously the only one that went really viral was the one of the larger women, because there's clearly 4 different covers, right? So there's Kim Kardashian, who, I mean, she's been on the cover of who knows how many magazines, right? So that's not really anything special. Ciara, again, I'm sure she's been on the cover of many, many magazines. Mae Musk, who's actually Elon Musk's mom, and her whole thing is that because like a lot of people are ageist in the industry, and she's an older woman, but she can still be beautiful. That's kind of her whole thing. And then the young lady that people are so upset about. So this article kind of, it basically, I don't want to read the whole thing because I just don't think it's necessary to what I want to talk about, but I'll have it linked in the description. But it kind of goes over why each woman was chosen and what they're trying to share with that and what they're trying to say with that person, right? So they talk about Kim Kardashian and how, you know, people just think of her as one thing and she's actually multifaceted, blah, blah, blah. I know people have many thoughts on Kim Kardashian. There's a lot of people that love her, a lot of people that hate her. Again, this is not a video about Kim Kardashian. They kind of talk about Ciara as well, things that she's doing, the fact that she is, helps with a lot. She apparently does a lot of charity work, and that's something that is really important to her. So they kind of talk about that. And then they talk about Mae Musk, and again, the whole thing is that people are ageist, and that they say that you can't be beautiful when you're over a certain age, and that's kind of her whole thing. But then we'll get into Yumi Nu. Right? And so this is kind of the explanation that they have for her. And says, and Yumi Nu proves she is in a category of her own making. The Japanese and Dutch recording artist who made her SI swimsuit debut in 2021 was writing songs by age 15 and was signed by record label Dim Mak when she was 21. Her debut album, Hajime, is scheduled to be released later this month. And so they kind of show that this is not just, this is a bigger person. Let's put them on the cover of this magazine, right? Because that's what I think a lot of people that probably saw this cover thought, right? It was like the only reason this person is on here is because they're bigger. There's no other reason for that. But clearly she has, been doing work, and there's other reasons why she would be on the cover, right? And so it says, in her first year of being in the spotlight, Yumi is coming into who she is and taking on the responsibility of what she stands for, says Day, who is the article writer of this. In addition to this year's powerhouse cover models, the SI Swimsuit 2022 issue features 21 Rookie of the Year Katrina Scott, who was photographed when she was 6.5 months pregnant, and veteran model Kate Bach, who marks a decade of appearance in the issue. They added, "We all deserve the chance to evolve, so in this issue, we encourage readers to see those models as we see them, multifaceted, multi-talented, and sexy while they're at it. The world may label them one way, but we want to focus our lens on all the ways they see themselves and how they own who they are. No matter your age, whether you are a new mom, partner, sister, entertainer, athlete, entrepreneur, advocate, student, mentor, role model, leader, or dreamer, or all of the above, we want to celebrate these women, their evolution, and with many dimensions of who they are." So there at the end, I think it's really funny because it literally almost calls out the Peterson tweet. Again, this isn't a video about Jordan Peterson, so I'm not trying to get into all of that. But it's funny because his whole thing was like, this is not beautiful, and I don't care what anyone says. When it's just so frustrating because I tweeted this out as well, and I tweeted out that anyone that has a huge problem with this is a big crybaby snowflake, right? And so I tweeted that out, and I had someone that responded saying that basically, this isn't healthy and we're glorifying obesity, which is literally always, every time there is anyone that is not slim on the cover. It literally doesn't even have to be someone that is overweight. They don't even have to be overweight. They can just be literally not slim. And the response is always, we are glorifying obesity and this is a problem. I do not understand that response. The fact of the matter is, fat people exist. Obese people exist. So should we just act like they don't exist and that's going to solve the problem? I don't understand. So what should we do? She's like, no. We can never have a big person on the cover of anything because then that'll glorify it and then people will want to become obese. Like, come on, dude. Really? You really think that there are people that are going to look at this article, look at this cover and say, you know what? I'm actually really healthy and I've been eating really well and I feel really good about myself. But now that I see this young lady that is bigger than me getting this attention, I think I am going to gain a bunch of weight and now be unhealthy myself because I would like that. No, I'm sorry. That isn't happening. What comes in my head when I see this is the only thing I can see this actually affecting someone's weight is if someone is dieting down, doing things that are unhealthy for them, right? Whether it's a fad diet, it's a super crazy diet, or it's like, even Jordan Peterson, he at one point, I think he still does, was like a proponent of the carnivore diet, which is literally only eating meat, which I would argue is not the healthiest thing in the world. But they're doing these things and they see, oh my gosh, this young woman who has a little bit of fat on her body is being celebrated, and maybe that will make them stop doing these really unhealthy, really dangerous diets that they have been doing for themselves, right? That's the only thing I can see. I really, really, really doubt that there is anybody that is already healthy or is already like, you know, doing like being good to their health, being good to their body, whether maybe they are losing weight, right, from a larger place. Like, I really doubt that there's someone that's like losing weight and really taking better care of themselves, really like starting to work out, starting to move more, and they see this and they're like, oh, I don't have to do it anymore. I'm good. Why should I even try? No, I'm sorry. That is, I feel like that's just a fantasy that's made up to try and make people feel bad whenever they have like a fat person that's on the cover of an article, right? So like for me, I always struggle with this because I know that there are a lot of people that are in similar, you know, my space that cannot stand this type of stuff. They cannot stand when there is someone that is larger on the cover of these articles. And again, it's always glorifying obesity, yada, 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 right? I think that there is a massive difference between, you know, we've talked about I think it was a Cosmopolitan cover, but again, we even went into that and it was like people were super mad because they're like, this is healthy. And they're like, oh my God. But it was like, I remember that Cosmo cover where people freaked out. And I definitely understood the argument more there because it was like, this is healthy. And it was people that were pretty large that it was like, I don't know about that, right? But this is a swimsuit cover model. This is not, all this is like, hey, look at this woman. That's it. It's like, it's so strange to me. And it feels like the people that are upset, one, it's dudes, right? And they're like, it's like they're mad that they can't masturbate to the article. When I'm like, dude, just go watch porn. It's free, bro. Are you really going to the store and buying Sports Illustrated swimsuit cover issue so you can jack off? Bro, just go online. Why do you need this cover? Like, it doesn't make any sense. The people that are upset about this, the only reason they're upset about it is because it gets them clout on Twitter. I'm telling you. Like, most of the people that are upset about this and are posting about it is because it gets them clicks, because them being upset equals them having better click-through rates, them having more interactions on Twitter, them having more whatever it is. That's why they're mad. They don't actually care. I'm convinced of that. That is a theory that I have, but I'm convinced that most of the people that act like they're upset about this don't actually care. They don't. But they know that if they talk about it, they'll get a lot of people that will say, yeah, you're right. I'm mad. I'm going to click like on this. I'm going to retweet this. I'm going to like this video. I'm going to post about this. You're right. They don't care. They just know that if they post about it, people are going to say, yeah, I'm with you. Let's cancel Sports Illustrated. I don't know, man. That's my take on it. I think that there's nothing wrong with this. I think that people that get mad about this literally are trying to find something to be upset about when there's nothing to be upset about. Like, if this bothers you, guess what? Don't buy Sports Illustrated. And you want to know what? I can almost guarantee that the people that are sitting here saying they're so upset about it, I bet you they've never bought a Sports Illustrated. And so they're mad about something that doesn't even have anything to do with them. I mean, I don't really know who buys Sports Illustrated anymore, to be completely honest. I have never bought a Sports Illustrated, but I think it's funny when people get mad about stuff that's not even for them. One other thing I wanted to add, I just thought of this as I was streaming, or I didn't think about it. I meant to add it to the video, but whatever. One of the issues a lot of people had were that they're like, this is unhealthy, right? This is unhealthy. Having a big person on the cover is unhealthy. I would argue that a lot of the people that have been on the cover in the past have been just as, if not more, unhealthy, and I wouldn't even have to argue. I think it's a known fact that a lot of those women were, doing things that were unhealthy, but the impact they had on other people looking at these articles, looking at these covers, thinking they themselves need to fit into that mold, I think that's been way, way more harmful than having someone that has some extra pounds on them. Like, I genuinely don't think that what we see with the article, or I keep saying article, what we see with the cover right now, I think that is far less more damaging to the people looking at it than it has been in the past, right? When we think about models, I think it's become more of a conversation now where we talk about, you know, the dangers and the things that a lot of these women had to do. I say women because that's usually the case, honestly. These women had to do to be on the cover, these really dangerous things. And it's like stuff we see with bodybuilding shows now, right? Like doing these dangerous things to get to these levels of leanness that are unhealthy. And then in turn, that unhealthiness transfers over to the person that's looking at this article, looking at this cover, thinking to themselves, to be considered beautiful, to be considered worthy, have any sort of praise, I need to be that thin. And so then the cycle continues of dangerous things to be that thin, yada, 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 right? So it's just interesting because I feel like a lot of people will argue that, oh, it's just unhealthy and it's going to make people unhealthy. When in reality, I think what we've done in the past has obviously not been working anyways. And so, like, you know, that's just what I think. I think that there's definitely a double standard where it's like, oh, someone that's really thin, oh yeah, it's fine. But if someone's like a little bit overweight, it's like, oh my God, this person is so unhealthy. It's the end of the world. I can't believe it. It's just a little ridiculous. But that's my opinion. I would love to know what you have to say. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with me. That's fine, but these are my thoughts. I would love to know what you have to say. If you want to leave a comment down in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, leave it a like and come to the streams. We have a great time. See you next time.